So you guys might have heard of phrases such as weed, 420, sticky icky, ganja, bud, kush, and probably some other ones too. Marijuana is a huge part of California's culture today, and despite how you feel about it, it's here to stay. In an article in Pasadena Weekly, there are over 1,000 medical marijuana dispensaries here in California as of 2009, and that's not to say that there's even more now. Whenever I go to any kind of social event nowadays, such as a party or a concert, it's hilarious how much of I see it around me. The war on drugs is obviously lost, and the government needs to accept this. I think that marijuana should be legalized and taxed for a profit for the government. First off, I want to talk about all the resources we waste trying to regulate marijuana and all the problems that go along with it. Second, I want to talk about how marijuana is so easily abused here in California. And third, I want to talk about the benefits of legalizing marijuana. So, going to my first main point, I've told you a little bit about the situation, but I want to show you just how bad it's gotten. Marijuana is all around us, and we waste law enforcement and money trying to stop it when it's just not possible. I mean, it's silly to think that the police are going to catch every single drug dealer on the streets. I've even seen drug deals happen in front of me, in line at a McDonald's, and it's ridiculous. Well, according to former governor of New Mexico, Gary Johnson, we waste $25 billion a year trying to regulate marijuana. I don't understand why we would spend so much money on something when I still see it happening around us all the time. I'm not seeing a difference. Not only that, it creates a lot of problems involving gangs, violence, and the drug trade. When the government implements laws that they can't enforce, it creates a thriving black market for criminals and especially the drug cartel. According to CNS News, in 2010 there were over 10,000 deaths related to the drug cartel. Not only that, but the drug cartel makes 60% of their profits in the United States. I think that the police waste their time catching these potheads when they could be preventing much more serious crimes. Going into my second main point, I told you how we waste all these resources, but I want to show you why it's gotten this bad. I mean, ever since the legalization of medical marijuana, anyone who wants it can get it. There's probably a doctor in almost every city in LA who will prescribe it to you, and when my friend went to go get his card, he told me that the doctor didn't even care. He told him to make up an illness, he just wanted his money, get in and get out, quick procedure. And that means that anyone over the age of 18 can legally buy marijuana, at least on a state level. And according to Lisa Leff of the Associated Press, there's estimated to be about 600,000 medical marijuana patients here in California as of 2012. And that's a lot of patients. And I'm not saying that medical marijuana is the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is the fact that it's so easy for people to buy marijuana and illegally sell it to other people. If you have a medical card, you can actually legally grow your own plants in your house. And you can also legally sell it to a dispensary. But the problem is there's so many people who grow their own plants, and there's so many dispensaries that it's impossible for the police to regulate. What's to stop someone from just growing their own plants and then selling them on the street, making a huge profit? And a lot of these dispensaries operate illegally because they don't require you to actually have a medical marijuana card to sell to you. And even though the police try to raid these illegal drug dealers and dispensaries, there's so many of them, and more of them pop up all the time, that it's impossible to regulate. Going into my final point, I've been talking about how it's gotten so out of hand, but I want to say that, instead of trying to fight it, we can use it to our advantage. No matter how much money we spend, how many law enforcements we use, it's still going to be out there. I want to tell you guys a little story. Back in 1920, the police outlawed the distribution and consumption of alcohol. And this was also known as the Prohibition. And for 13 years, criminals and gangsters took advantage of this and sold alcohol legally all over the nation and made a huge profit from it. And despite the government's best efforts, alcohol was still readily available all over the country. And after a lot of wasted time and money, the government finally made it legal again. And as a result, they made a profit from the sales tax they put on it, and they also saw a drop in crime. So what can we learn from this? That instead of trying to fight it, we can use it to our advantage. We would see the drug cartel would take a huge blow to their operation, crime would go down, and the government could stand to make a large profit from it. According to Stephen Easton of the Fraser Institute, in 2010, he said that if we tax marijuana the same way we tax cigarettes, we could stand to make anywhere from $40 billion to $100 billion. And that's no chump change, that's a lot of money. And if you take into account that we would save a potential $25 billion from not having to regulate it, that's just even more. As of November 6, 2012, earlier this month, Colorado and Washington were the first states to legalize marijuana on a state level. And although it's too soon to actually see any results, they're hoping that it's going to fill a lot of the gaps in their budget. Although, even though it's legal on a state level, in the eyes of the federal government, it's still illegal. And that means that the battle is far from over. So if you guys want to help make a difference or voice your opinion, there's a website, acronym NORML, stands for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. You can go on there and they'll have plenty of ways that you can help fight the cause. You can donate to the organization, you can petition to your elected officials, and that will make a huge difference. And they also have rallies on there with dates that you can go join and help out the cause. So I've told you what I think should be done about this problem, so there's not much left to say. In conclusion, I think that medical marijuana should be legalized and used for a profit for the government. We're wasting money trying to fix something we can't. And the longer we wait, the longer it's going to keep getting out of hand. We should, whether you're a fan of marijuana or not, it's here to stay. And there's a saying the government can learn from. If you can't beat them, join them. I thank you guys for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.